Good morning. I want to believe that Africa is faced with one major problem. When I wrote this book, The Open Letter to President Lev Patrick Manawasa, mainly I addressed on witchcraft. I still have to address the issue of a president. When someone wants to become a president, he prays to God. Upon stepping his foot in his state house, that person is deceived to believe in witchcraft. The demonstration of witchcraft becomes more intensive and clearly understood when you become a president. And they are easily deceived not to believe in God. I addressed the issue to President Kaunda regarding his white cloth. That is Satanism obtained under the ocean. I want to claim to say, when God gives me the right to speak, one may look at it as a violation of human rights. All these laws that have come to protect what we call democracy today, they are meant to close down every genuine worshipper, every genuine critic of wrongdoing. I want to appeal to say, when we are discussing the matters of God, God must be put beyond political rights because he is the creator. And those that are going to fight the revelations of God, I want to tell you to say you are going to meet the hand of God and you are going to see him face to face. Because he has kept me all this long, faced with a lot of challenges, being poisoned, being arrested, being detained falsely, because those who are accusing me of mental illness, they are doing it in order to close my mouth. I've survived from a lethal injection trap because of God's revelations and because of God using other people to rescue me out of it. I want to refer to certain statements in this book. Perhaps I may start from the first volume to see the coherence of what I call as prophecy, which is being fulfilled. When I'm talking about this book, I know there are people who have the book. When I arrived in South Africa in 2012, I gave most of the people in the Home Affairs these copies of Volume 1, Volume 2, and Volume 3. I gave them, and they have them. And one of those is recently, when I lost my book, I asked him, and he gave back to me. It was in a good form. Here in South Africa and Zambia, I know they have these books. I'm not quoting something that was not distributed. I'm quoting something that was distributed for free to the government offices, and others they bought. So now here is a copy that I want to quote some few writings that I wrote. Numeral numbers, that is number 6. To the reader, I said, and I quote, kindly note that any references to the Roman Catholic Church refers solely to the system of faith, teaching, and practice, not individual beloved members of that body of believers. The rescue operation is extended to them as to all others out of love. I urge the reader not to consider the revelation written in this book to have authority above Scripture. The visions are given for warning, correction, rebuke to the nation or to people and leaders. The vision may not meet its prediction under one condition: if the warned person or nation repents, as was the case in Jonah's prediction of doom to Nineveh. So when I was talking about this, I'm referring to say, when I'm talking about Catholic Church, I'm talking about Vatican, I'm talking about America, I'm talking about IMF, I'm talking about any organization of goodwill. It does not mean I'm bitter or have hatred, but I'm simply speaking out of love. All these organizations, all these countries, they must develop that brotherly love to treat each other equally and fair and out of love. No country under the world must be happy when another country is in slavery. So now, let me proceed. There's third paragraph. I said, you will observe that the revelation of the fall of Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, the rise and the fall of Dr. F.T.J. Chiluba, and the third term predicted fate met its fulfillment in the course of editing. But the vision of the rise of the Pope as a global leader is still gradual and still future. And the rise of the open palm government that shall stretch its hand to hold hands with the Vatican is yet future, but in sight. The fulfillment of this vision is not my business, but it is God's business to prove his word written in this book. When I'm referring to the stretching hand of the open palm government, when I say the open palm government, I'm referring to this palm that I've actually indicated on this open letter to Hakainde Hichilema. So when I see on this picture the stretching, the holding each other of hands, it is exactly the statement that I've read in this book, which I wrote in 2001. So if a person would not accept that God spoke through this book, and if a president still remain adamant to believe that what I'm saying, I'm not just merely speaking for the sake of speaking, but I spoke this thing in this book before they happened. So now I want to proceed to make a reference of what I've quoted in this other book, which I wrote 7 years later. I published it 2008, just when Manawasa was announced to have collapsed. I published this book because it was already written. Now, because I was engaged in many other business activities, I was busy with my counter, delivering my products for shampoo, for food coloring and drinks. So now God actually rebuked me to a point that I had a lot of breakdowns so that I could publish this book, which I'd forgotten. So listen to what I said. On the Roman numerals, page 6, as the introduction to the reader, I said, I take courage from the past revelation that have come to pass. You will observe that the revelations of the fall of Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, the rise of Dr. F.T.J. Chiluba, and the third term predicted fate met its fulfillment in the period of 17 years since 1990, when they were prophesied, and in 2001 they were written in the first volume, the Rescue Operation series, The Airport Trap. And this book is written in order to outline its occurrence, interpretation, and application. At the same time, to extend the second Rescue Operation Trap against fulfilling Daniel's prophecy. But the vision of the rise of the Pope as a global leader is gradual and still future, but present. and the rise of the open palm government that will stretch its hand to hold hands with the Vatican is yet future, but in sight. The fulfillment of this vision is not my business, but God's business to prove his word written in this book. But the roots of this alliance are already in place and in our national constitution. The last statement is what was a bit of addition and the other additions that I've said in this book. So, the alliance, I use the word alliance of this global leadership of the Pope is already in the constitution. What did I mean? I meant the declaration of Zambia as a Christian nation. There's no nation under this world that needs to be declared as a Christian nation. It's a segregation or discrimination of other nations. Christianity is individual, or rather it can go to individual religious bodies, but not as a nation. So I want to appeal to Hakainde Chilema, as I called him on a phone in 2018, whilst in exile. I told him to say, your coming into power is under the support of the Pope. But this partnership with the Pope, it will not lead your country to prosperity. It will actually lead to economical slavery. And when I talked about that, I was a fool. I actually made him to be angry with me. But today, where is the agreement? Where is the partnership? What is the result of him addressing EU, saying that he is calling for meaningful partnership? Where is the meaningful partnership with America? America has cut aid. And right now, Zambia is comparing. He wants to hold hands with China without claiming the ownership of the natural resources, which can put Zambia on a landmark of leadership to provide the promises to fix the economy. We cannot claim that we are leading our countries when the people who are leading our countries, they are the ones that are utilizing those mines, which is a source of our riches. Africa is trusting in witchcraft, which will end up landing them. Witchcraft has no foresight of tomorrow. Witchcraft has the present answers at a present time, but it cannot take you through to your leadership. That's why you find that all leaders that trust in witchcraft, they end up dying in a wrong way. Because when those who are fighting them, when they realize that they are protected by witchcraft, they also go to consult the same witch doctors. They all go to the same source, that where you get your protection. And once they pay more than what you have paid, they come and eliminate you. But when you trust to God, they may victimize you, they may persecute you, and they may appear to be winning against you, but they cannot take your life, because God is the ultimate answer. He has power above witchcraft. He has power above a gun. He has power above food poisoning. I've lived to experience that. So I want to appeal to all African leaders to say, in this fight for uniting Africa, which is a genuine fight, let us involve God. Let us seek Him. Let us seek His advice. And I want to say that quickly, as I want to explain further the coherences or the way this truth has been explained from volume 1 of the rescue operation to volume 2 of the rescue operation. This one, which I'm holding here, the Pigpen Predicament, President Obama's Pigpen Predicament. This book has a lot in it. It has a lot of wisdom. It has a lot of what is happening in the administration of what happened under Barack Obama, what happened under Joe Biden, what happened under what is happening, what happened when Donald Trump became president, and now the cutting of aid. It is the climax of what I was explaining in this book. But what I want to refer to is the same statements where I would refer to the prophecies that have been ignored. I'm reading on page 8 of this book, the rescue operation, President Barack Obama's pig pen predicament. I explained in other videos back to say pig pen predicament only explained of a prodigal son who ended up eating with the pigs in order for him to save his money going back to the parent who he refused advice, who he refused to save under him. Today, all leaders are eating in the pig pen. African leaders are eating in the pig pen. They are eating dirty of their wrong decision. They are forced to get aid. And when they refuse to get aid, they are being killed because they are refusing to go back to God. It is time for leaders in Africa to go back to God. It's time for leaders in Africa to look unto God and for their answers. And without ignoring certain political decisions like that of Ibrahim Traoré to take back the country's natural resources to the government's hand. That is the only example I'm referring to him as an African leader. I'm not saying let's go to war. If war is necessary at certain stages, that's why the government has soldiers and police officers to arrest criminals and those who doesn't want to comply with government rules. So I pray that as I'm reading here, you must understand what really God is saying. Here I said, those who oppose to this ministry of prophets of visions and dreams today, I urge them to enter into the arena and watch the feast of the Legion between the prophets of peace, the pig pen the pig pen prophets of economical slavery after Obama's leadership. Note that point. After Obama's leadership. This will help you to prove who is on God's side. I know God will not fail me. I declare that the peace, unity, and prosperity preached by President Obama shall lead Africa and the whole world to serve as slaves, economical slaves, under the Vatican authority of the papas and as the new monarch. So today, I doubt if Hakainde Hichilema can refute these writings, which I know they are there in his home, they are there in his office at UPND, and even in State House, he might find this book there because all the presidents that have been leading have been giving them copies. And the former president, if General Mianda is still alive, I know he still has some copies of these prophecies that I gave him. Approach him, he will give them to you. I said further on this paragraph, on the third paragraph, the rise of the prophets of peace who are opposed to Jeremiah, prophets of slavery, is being repeated today through President Obama's promise of political change in the formation of global village across the world, where all citizens of global village are promised to dwell on heaven on earth paradise, with no war, no credit crunch blues, free education, no loss of individual national currency value, with one global currency in place. It is hard for such leaders to accept my warning as a revelation from God. To them, it's madness of the century. To those opposed, for me to oppose President Obama and the Pope, that globalization shall fail. So, finally, I'm saying, when you look at this as madness of a century, you are deceived. I'm appealing to all to unite with Abraham Traoré, to unite Africa to become one country. And look at what you want as a democracy in that parliament. May God bless you for hearing the voice of God speaking through these books, because I wrote these books before this. May God May God